like you to do is think about something. Think about what your vision would be for the Bertrand Creek watershed. 10 years in it from now, what do you think the Bertrand Creek watershed should look like? And I know we have a variety of different folks here from different backgrounds. We have some landowners, some farmers, we have some scientists, we have some regulators. What is your vision? So I'm guessing we might have more than one vision here. Maybe some of you are thinking about,
Next.
Is it this one?
Turn it on.
Maybe some of you are envisioning productive farmland. Maybe others of you are thinking about a better environment, cleaner water, cleaner drinking groundwater. I'll get this right. And I'm just going to put this out here, but maybe some of you are thinking about regulations. Some of you might be thinking that the regulations aren't strong enough, that they need to be enforced more, that the water isn't getting cleaner fast enough, but others of you might be thinking, we have enough regulations, we're worried about having more. But if we examine that, the people who want more regulations, what they really want is the cleaner water, and the people who want less, what they really want is productive farmland. So we get back to these two visions of productive farmland and clean water. There's no reason why we can't have both. There's no reason why this can't be a shared vision for all of us. In fact, I don't think we can really have one without the other. If we don't have farmland, we don't have the kinds of landscape to do the restoration activities that need to happen for the water. If we don't have the clean water, we're not going to have the public support for the farmland. But what's it going to take to get there? It's going to be hard. I think one of the quotes Henry Ford was credited with saying puts it pretty well, and that coming together is a beginning, keeping together as progress, and working together as success. And I look at it today as here we are, we've come together as this big group. And I know that in the past some of you have already come together in smaller groups, you've already kept together, you've already worked together, and you've shown some pockets of success. But now we have an opportunity to make it bigger. We have an opportunity to really make a difference in the watershed, to really show success and measure it with the science so that we can get that public support. So if we look at it from these two different perspectives, it's mutually beneficial for us to be working together. There's two obvious reasons. I'm going to state them right off the top. One of them is farmers are heroes. You guys feed us. We all need food. We can't live without you. We need to honor farms. But we also need water. And as an employee of an agency that regulates water both in quantity and quality, we need that too. This alone is why we need to work together. But there are other reasons too. Farmers are the ultimate in land management experts. No one knows that land better. No one knows what grows there better, how that history of the land has been. But you also need the science expertise too. The scientists go out, they measure what the problems are, how big those problems are, where those problems are, and as time goes on and actions happen because people work together and found solutions, they can measure the progress towards those goals. And why is all of this important? As I mentioned, farmers are land management experts. They know how to grow things. They can even grow habitat. They can grow things like riparian buffers. They can install best management practices. They're the ones that do the work that creates the success. We can't create the success. It's in the hands of the landowners to do that. However, with the scientific expertise, we can help prove that success. And why is that important? Public pressure. Sometimes there's public pressure against farms. People who aren't farmers sometimes criticize farms for polluting streams or for other reasons. And even though we all know we have to have farms, we need farms, sometimes they're under a lot of public pressure. And having that scientific expertise will help build the public support to keep farming in the future. So I want to tell you a story. It's about the Schulke family. They live outside of Walla Walla on a farm. It's a really big farm. And they've been farming it for 5 generations. Back when they first started, they did what everybody does, whether it be for transportation corridors, industry, building towns, agriculture. Back then, they removed all native vegetation. That's just step number 1 of how things happened back then. And they had 2 streams running through their property, so they didn't have any vegetation along the streams. And things were, okay for a while, but time started catching up with them. And as the decades went by, they lost more and more land to erosion. And the creeks weren't looking very good either. So with more and more public pressure and getting tired of losing their land, they went to their local conservation district and got some help. And the district helped them sign up for various best management practices and farm programs and signed them up for what was then a new program called PrEP. They didn't know about this program. They wasn't quite sure about how this is going to work, so they only enrolled 4 acres to begin with. But they came to the table. They came to the start. The first year, all the plants died. And so that didn't go well, especially for farmers. They don't want to see the plants die. They kept together, though, even though it was bumpy. They worked together with the technicians at the district and started again. And the next time, they did things a little differently, and they got the plants to start growing. The family liked it, so they enrolled some more, and some more, and more. And now they have 265 acres, one family, 265 acres of buffer in PrEP. They even won a national award for it. Unfortunately, that's the end of the story. I wouldn't like it to be the end of the story. What I would like to be able to do is say, this family enrolled 265 acres of land, and because of that, the water temperatures cooled, and salmon came back and spawned, and erosion was reduced, but I can't say any of that. I can't say it because the science wasn't done to measure anything. And that happens time after time after time across the state. We have a couple examples where we're able to mesh these really great actions with the science to prove things out. But they're so few and far between. And wouldn't it be great to have a happily ever after ending to this story where we're able to say that these people, they did all the right things. It's just that the scientists weren't there to help with the measurements and help tell a story that's convincing to the public and convincing to the people who fund these programs so that we have more resources available to do this important work. But I don't think we have to let that happen to Bertrand Creek. And the reason I think that is because of all of us here today. We have the right mix of people. We have landowners, we have conservation district folks, we have the scientists. We've come together. This is a great start. And I want to challenge each of you today when we go out and have lunch and we have the demonstrations later. If you're scientists, talk to the landowners. Find out from them the history of their land. Find out from them what they think the problems are, what they think we should measure. And if you're a landowner, talk to the scientists. Find out what they measure and why. And scientists are pretty picky about how they do things. You might even hear them talk about something called data quality. But, they do things a certain way because the data has to be super strong. It has to pass all the scrutiny of the public, of people who are ready to, do things like lawsuits and things like that. It has to pass that scrutiny, so they do things a very particular way because of that. And so ask them those questions. We welcome them. And what I hope happens is that 10 years from now, somebody's going to put a picture on a screen somewhere, and they're going to say, let me tell you a story. Let me tell you a story about Bertrand Creek. And in that story, they're going to relate all these wonderful things that people came together and built common solutions for, to protect their farmland, to clean the water, and they're going to be able to prove it with good results. And there's going to be an audience out there, and in that audience, people are going to say, you know what? If they did it, so can we.